You know what the difference between bland food and food that makes you close your eyes and say, mmm, when you taste it? Intentional seasoning, that's becoming her. Not a pinch of this, not a half put together list of a hope that it works out. That is not becoming. That is not the flavor we are going for. We need the full blend. Every ingredient intentional, every layer purposeful. Because that woman that you're becoming, she is well seasoned. She is bold and she has depth. So today, we are figuring out what's actually in our mix. What seasonings are we adding? What needs to come out? What has been watering down your flavor this whole entire time? So let's get into it. School is now in session, y'all. Where your homework at? Let me see it. Because right now, life is looking a little bland. Last week, we talked about what's been watering down our flavor, what's been keeping us bland, what needs to come out of the mix entirely. If you missed that conversation, go back and watch episode 1 first, because this right here is part 2. And we are building on everything that we have started. So you made your list, your lockbox list, the things that don't serve you, the things that have been sitting in your seasoning blend that have absolutely no business being there. Have that list in front of you. Put it right in front of you. Because today we are not just looking at it. We are going into it. But before we do anything else, though, I want to introduce you to something that is going to become a big part of this journey that we are on together. I am calling it the Becoming Audit. You know what an audit is, right? It's when you examine something closely, you evaluate it, you determine what's working, what's not, what stays, and what needs to go. You don't just glance at it and move on. You sit with it and question it, and you get to the truth of it. And that is exactly what we're doing with our list today. The Becoming Audit has 3 levels. And I want you to really hear these, because this is the foundation of everything that we're going to be building together. The root. Okay? This is your tier 1. Your non-negotiables, the things you know with everything in you, no question, no hesitation. These are deep, unshakable. They come from within you, not from social media, not from somebody else's opinion, not from a YouTube video that told you who you should be. Those are yours, and they are not up for debate. The simmer. This is tier 2. These are still cooking. You think they belong on your list, but you're not 100% sure yet. Maybe somebody influenced this. Maybe you put it there because it sounded right. Maybe you're still working through whether this is truly yours or whether it was handed to you by somebody else's narrative. These need more time and more heat before you know what they really are. The seed. This one right here is tier 3. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of us threw things on this list because it sounded logical, because we saw it on somebody else's journey. Because a video or a post or a comment made us feel like this belonged on this part of our list. But does it actually grow in your garden? Does it actually belong in your blend? And that's what we're trying to figure out. Now, here's what's important, though. The Becoming Audit applies to both of your lists, not just the don'ts. When we eventually get to building your vision list, the do's, those go through the same exact audit process. Because we can just as easily put things on our vision list that don't actually belong to us either. But right now, we focusing on these don'ts, this lockbox list. And we are running every single item through the Becoming Audit. So here's where we start. Not with this list of itself, but where this list generated from, where it came from. I want you to look at what you wrote down and ask yourself, how did these things get here? Yeah, I know you wrote them down, and that's great. But where did the idea behind this list actually come from? Because here's what I need us to be honest about. Some of the things on this list that you wrote, they came from you. From your gut, from your lived experience, from that deep inner knowing that says this is not serving me and I'm done with it. But some of the things on this list, they got here because somebody else put them here. A parent, a friend, a partner, social media, a comment somebody made years ago that you never let go of. Somebody told you that you weren't good enough. Somebody made you feel like you were behind. Somebody, without even saying a word, made you feel like the way you were living your life was wrong. And you internalized that. And now it's on your list like it's your truth when it was never yours to begin with. So for every item on this list, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Is this coming from me, from my gut, from my experience, from my inner knowing, or is this coming from somebody else's perception of who I should be? How long has this not been serving me? And in what ways has it been holding me back? Could this thing, if I approached it differently, actually help me become her? Or is it genuinely something that needs to go? And most importantly, if my best friend had this on her list, what would I ask her about it? That last question right there is everything. Because here's what I've noticed about us as women. We interrogate our friends with love. We question them because we care. We push back because we want the best for them. But when it comes to ourselves, and we either accept everything without question or we tear ourselves apart without mercy. You are your best friend. You are number one. And you have to learn to question yourself the same way you would question someone you love, with honesty, with grace, with the intention of getting the truth. Now, let me use something from our own list as an example because I think it's important that I go first. One of my non-negotiables, one of my absolute roots is that my home should never be dysfunctional and chaotic. No clutter, no disorganization, no dishes piling up, laundry sitting in bags for weeks. That is not her. This is not the woman I'm becoming. But I still had to ask myself, where did that come from? Is that something my standard? Or did someone else's idea of what a home should look like get into my head? And the answer is that this one is mine. That comes from how I want to feel in my space, how I want to show up for myself every single day. Because your home is a reflection of you. If your space is in chaos, your mind is in chaos. So that is my root, my non-negotiable, tier 1, done. But I have simmers too, things I'm still working through, things I put on my list that I'm not 100% sure where they came from, whether they came from me or from what I've been consuming during my couch rotting. And I'm being honest about that because I think you need to see what the process looks like. And you need to see that this process isn't linear. It doesn't happen overnight, and that is perfectly okay. And here's something else that we really need to talk about, because I think this is where a lot of our simmers and seeds are coming from. Social media is a virtual reality, and you need to really sit with that. It is a curated, filtered, highlight reel version of somebody else's life. And sometimes, especially when we're just on here scrolling, trying to figure out who we're supposed to be, we start absorbing that virtual reality as if it's our own. We start to build our vision of becoming based off of what we see on the screen instead of what we actually feel on the inside. And by no means am I immune to this. I watch people whose lives look like everything that I want and more. The travel, the food, the spaces, the experiences. And I'd be lying to you if I said that some of those things didn't influence what I put on my list. But here's what I had to check myself on. Some of those things are not accessible to me in this season. And if I build my becoming around a life that isn't my reality right now, I am setting myself up to feel like I failed before I even started. That doesn't mean that those things can't be a part of the vision. They absolutely can. But we have to be honest about what is real for us right now. We have to build on the reality we're actually living, fix it, pour into it, strengthen it, before we can reach for what we're aspiring toward. So, as you go through your becoming audit, the point of this is to be honest with yourself. But I want you to honestly ask, did this come from my life, my experience, my truth? Or did I get that from the screen? Because you're her. yours, might look completely different from her that somebody else is selling you. And that version, your version, is just as powerful, just as valid, and just as worthy of becoming. Now, I want to pause for a second because I think this needs to be said. This here process takes time, real time, not a week, not a month necessarily. It took me a long time to even start figuring out what belonged on my own list. And I'm still working through it. So I'm not expecting you to have this completely figured out by next week. I'm not putting a deadline on your becoming. There's no rush here. There is no pressure. This is your work, your journey, and your audit. What I want for you is to take this seriously, to actually sit with it, to ask the hard questions, to be honest with yourself, even when it's completely uncomfortable, even when what you find surprises you, even when it takes longer than you thought. Because a well-seasoned woman doesn't rush that cooking process. She knows that the best flavors come from patience, from letting things simmer, from giving it the time it needs to become what it's supposed to be. Take the time. You deserve it. Here's where we are right now. You have gone through your list. You have ran through every single item in that becoming audit. You have asked yourself the hardest questions of your life. You have been honest with yourself about what came from you and what came from somebody else. You have identified your roots, your simmers, and your seeds. And now everything on that list, everything that doesn't serve you, everything that has been taking up space in your garden that was never meant to occupy, it needs to go. Not just mentally, not just in theory, physically gone. So here's what I want you to do. Write it all down on paper if you haven't already. I want you to see it. I want you to hold it in your hands. I want you to look at every single thing on this list and acknowledge that this is what you are leaving behind. This is what I'm no longer carrying. This does not come with me on this journey. And then get rid of it. If that means you burn it, burn it. If that means you lock it away, lock it away. That means you put it in the back of your freezer so you're not ever tempted to go back to it. Whatever it takes to make the release feel real, to signal your mind and body and spirit that this chapter right here has closed. These things are done. You're not taking this baggage with you into who you are becoming. You cannot build her on a foundation of things that were never meant to stay. You cannot season her with ingredients that were poisoning your blend. You cannot grow a flourishing garden while weeds are still taking up root. You have to clear the ground first. And once you do, once you release it, you will feel it. There will be a lightness, a clarity, a fresh pair of eyes. And that is when you will be ready to start building the vision of who she actually is. That is where we're going next. But first, let that stuff go. Really, let it go. Here is what I want you to do before you come back for episode 3. Your list is done. Your becoming audit is complete for the things that you don't want to be. Every item has been examined, questioned, and either released or confirmed as a non-negotiable route. You have physically released what no longer serves you. And you're now coming into episode 3 with nothing but clarity. No baggage, no dead weight, no other people's opinions taking up space in your becoming. Just you, renewed, refreshed, ready. And then, and only then, we start to build the vision. We start to ask the real questions about who she is. What does she look like? How does she carry herself? What does her life actually look like in your reality? Not in somebody else's highlight reel. Your real, actual, beautiful, messy becoming. But right now, though, do the work. Take the time you need. Run the becoming audit on everything. Release what needs to go. And come back when you're ready with the list of the woman that you're becoming. You are your first friend. You are your number one best friend. And if you can't show up for yourself the way you would show up for someone you love, you can't fully show up for anyone else either. Do the work for her because she's waiting for you on the other side of this. I'll see you in episode 3. Later, girl.